that's just a version of God that I could be open to. So in the sense of, answering your question as, if we are not going to turn our nose up at the fact that this is a recurring theme in human thought, humans believe in this, and this seems important to us. And that's a way of accommodating that, I think, without compromising on what I consider to be important to making sense of the world.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And you mentioned before that as well, that there's still this problem of interiority that you're open to trying to find a version of that as well. And I guess there's a conversation at some point we can have around where those two things you've described meet, like where does interiority meet God? Because it almost sounds like an idealism in some sense. Not that it's an idealism fully, but it's got this kind of flavor of it, of with God being both outside of time and kind of, it's not the creator of the material, but it's sort of like inherently part of it in some way. Maybe more like panpsychism. But
yeah, I think it's more of a panpsychism. And I think the way that I would distinguish them is that ground peak analogy I used. Idealism I see as being this notion that consciousness is fundamental to, and the fundament, that's the foundation, the ground, the bottom, the thing on which everything else is built, and my perspective is that rather than consciousness being the thing on which everything is built, that on which everything stands, instead it's the thing that everything builds towards, the thing that stands atop everything else.
That makes sense. Yeah, and my personal metaphysics is similar. But it's not that all of our universe's time and space exists. It's more of a process of unfolding, but it's still this cycle. It's still a kind of starting with the ultimate individuation of all things, where there's no God or there's no mind as such. But although I do kind of like to reframe mind in particular ways, but at least in terms of the common parlance of mind, that doesn't exist. But then there's a cycle of evolution, and God is the outcome of that, but also the beginning in the sense that it's a cycle. So sort of at the end peak where everything is undifferentiated, there's another differentiation, and that's kind of the cyclical Big Bang.
Yeah.